We're there.
Yay!
Good morning.
What's up? What are y'all doing up so early? I hope they can hear us.
I hope so too.
Somebody
Can you let
give
us
us a
know?
sign.
Yes, if you
Give
can
us a
hear
sign.
us. Jesse did all of his computer stuff. He could have easily screwed that.
Yes, very easily. So, a couple of things. One, we're talking about busy versus impact.
Yes.
And we have this stranger here.
We kind of pulled her in. She doesn't even know what we're going to do to her today.
I am just here.
Yes, here. So where are we, Jennifer Lacey?
We are at a cabin on the lake, thanks to Yesenia and her connections. And so we are doing our reciprocal propulsion weekend, and Ms. Demetria is here to hang out with us this weekend and do some mind shifting, growing, a lot of fun stuff. And as always, when you join us for the weekend, you get to be on the live show. So she is with us this morning on the live stream.
Yes, and you couldn't wait, right, Demetria?
She thought she was getting out of it. I'm like, no. Here's your seat right
Like, I
here.
got my laptop. I can watch.
I'm gonna watch out on the deck.
Yes.
So we are going to be talking about busy versus impact and expecting the tribe to really bring the heat. It's like last time, we had a lot of people
We
bringing
had a lot of
bunch stuff.
conversations. Yay!
Who's that?
is
Oh, we
somebody-
got Miss Holly.
Good morning, Holly.
How are you, Holly? Oh my goodness, I haven't seen
Oh,
her.
here they come. Oh, look at Rachel. Look what Rachel says. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Good morning, Rach.
Oh, we
Oh,
got
here we go.
Steve Martin.
Oh, yes.
Rain. Oh, he's got rain. We got nothing. but
We got
sunshine
sunshine
out here.
on the lake this
I'm
morning.
gonna even out my tan today. And we got Mr.
Oh,
Jim.
on the back deck.
Nice, very nice. Awesome. So, Jen, don't we have like a standard call to action for
We
folks?
do. We have a couple things. So number one, put your name in there, and if you are new to us and you've not kind of jumped in and typed a little bit and let us know you were there and you're out there just kind of lurking a little bit, we would love to know you're there, and we cannot know unless you type something. So if you don't want to dive in yet, all you have to do is just let us know, hey, here's where I'm calling in from. You can just type in your location. And if you put a blue heart, then all of our people that are on here and following know this is the first time that you've kind of engaged in the conversation, maybe the first time you've shown up and listened. And the blue heart allows everyone else to connect to you, follow you, give you some love, kind of help guide you through some of the conversation if you're struggling finding something. And so we found out if you don't know how to do the blue heart, that's okay. You don't have to go to your phone or your iPad. If you right click at the top, it usually gives you an emoji option. And you go in there, type in blue, it gives you a heart, put the blue heart in there. And that allows our tribe just to really connect with you and give you some love.
Boom, bam. And normally we have an after party after this
Yes.
conversation.
Terry.
Was that?
Terry's on our board.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Terry.
Good morning, Terry.
Terry, you should actually be here. I had no idea this was happening. We'll be sitting at that dining room table back there. Come on, girl, help me out here.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it is Terry's first time, but y'all connect to Terry, give her some love because she sits on a NAMAC board with Demetria and I.
Yes.
She's amazing.
Yes. And we're looking for a volunteer, anybody
Yes.
to host the after party. Because
Yes.
we won't be having, or I'll say it this way, Jennifer and I will not be at the after party.
Right.
So please take it and run with it. And if not, enjoy the rest of your morning. Got to look at that.
Whoop, whoop, buddy. Good morning, buddy.
I got to give Mr. Buddy a
You
hug
did this week. We had an awesome event that Yesenia got to show up to. We got
Yes.
Armando was there. A lot of our tribe was there, and we got to share some stuff with our local community of practice. And again, a lot of our people that we get to hang out with, we all got to be in the same space. And then Jesse just crashed the party as usual. And it was a movie screening. So like the lights went down and we watched this really cool compilation of little short videos that Keon put together. And then the lights come back on and there's Jesse standing up and everyone's like, where did Jesse come from? So it was awesome. Yeah.
I just slipped in the way I do, And then Miss Terry says, good morning. Thank you, Terry, for being here. So folks, keep the comments coming. Let us know you're there because we want to know. It makes us feel great, even though we have amazing company.
Jim.
Oops.
There goes Jim.
That's okay. Yes, we're
Keep
good.
on rolling. So what are we? So Ms. Demetria, what do you think about the title of our conversation today?
Well, that you just threw me in here, but I love this title, Busy versus Impact. I mean, some people could just be busy doing nothing and not really making an impact. So I'm not for sure because you didn't give me any heads up on this topic today or this morning. I had no idea I was even speaking. Okay? But when I saw that, I was like, wow, yeah, some people can be very busy just doing nothing and not making an impact. What comes to my mind is, outreaches. People can do an outreach. They have these projects. Okay, you have the whole team in there of the project. You have your project execs, the project managers, the whole team. But if they're not there really making that one-on-one, those connections with those trade partners, they're really not making an impact. They're just there. Hey, I'm doing my job and I'm out.
Checking boxes. I like that.
Oh, that doesn't happen.
All the time.
I think you nailed it.
Well,
that's exactly what we want to be talking about.
Yes.
Like,
That's exactly where our conversation started, and then it led into how do we need to dig into this a little bit more.
So you've probably seen the show once or twice.
Yeah, of course.
So can you hear like the reverse beat going? Me back in that bus up.
Yep.
It's coming. But before we go there, Justin coming in from Nashville.
Good
What's
morning,
up,
Justin.
Mr. Collins.
He was in Austin this week, connecting with some of our tribe. I saw him down there with Felipe and Brian Melcher. And
Yes, I have my buddy. Oh my God, Lester McKenzie, who I used to work with. He had a spot, and I'm like not excited because I missed it because Lester is awesome. So, Colin, you have to give me the cheat notes on that, how he came across, because that dude's got it going on. Man, we got
do.
Dog and Pony Show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know about those.
And then we got Bruce Fishnets for us 2024, baby. Hell yeah. And Colin saying, yes, he got this. Oh man, Lester's freaking awesome. I mean, I was this close because I'm in San Antonio.
I mean, it was one of those two. I'm just because Brian's like, I'm in Austin. I'm like, ooh, what do I got going on?
Oh man, it was. I was flying into Dallas. It didn't work out, but I did get to spend the week with some amazing leaders out there.
Well, Sarah, thank you, Sarah, because I know you made a comment because Jesse screwed up the time zone. So thank you again for hey, this doesn't look quite right. So I'm glad we got to reset that this morning.
Yes, that was the second lead. I'm blaming it on the allergies. The 3 looked like an 8. So I scheduled it for 3 a.m. Not on purpose. Anyways, we're here now, Sarah. Thanks for pointing it out because I would have missed it for sure. So Jen, where did this, what's the origin of this topic? This
conversation. So Jesse and I talk a lot. And again, we're talking about the things we have going on. And he pointed out in one of our conversations that when people ask me specifically, Jennifer, what do you got going on? What's on your plate? My first response is like, I'm busy. I got a lot going on. And it's not that I'm not doing a lot of impactful, influential things, but that is my default. And we started digging into why is that my default? Because it's almost like this armor, this thing that protects me. And we started talking about what does that mean and why do I say that? Because I know I'm out there doing some really amazing things. And it kind of made me stop and think, okay, what was the origin of why do I need to be busy and be moving all the time and let people, so that's what they see, so they know that I'm doing something. And so that then went to a lot of self-reflection, which is what Jesse usually does. And I think in the beginning, when I was out there trying to, figure out what I wanted to do, and because those of you that have been around me in my space, I go fast, I move fast. And what being busy and moving and activity did for me is it allowed me not to have to stop and engage and take the time to like have to talk about all the things I'm doing. Because if I'm moving, I mean, I've had people that like run into me, Jennifer, I know you're busy, but I just got a question for you real quick. And it allowed that me to just kind of move through and navigate what I wanted to do without really stopping and having to like own, here's the things I'm working on. And I know that like gives you all a little bit of insight and it's a little vulnerable because that doesn't mean I wasn't doing things, but it allowed me to kind of live on the surface and kind of skate around and not have to really dig into here's the value, here's the, here's the things that I'm specifically doing that are going to impact these things. And it became kind of a default as to how I engage with people so that I didn't have to stop and really have an engaging conversation with them.
When Demetra, you've known Jen for a long time. What did it feel like witnessing that? Was it obvious or?
I think I'm with Jen. Well, it's been 12 years when I met her, and I was pretty much new in the industry.
Okay.
But it was like a magnet for me. I was like, oh yeah, somebody my speed.
Yep.
Typically, and people like us are people with the same character. People typically either hate them, you love them, or hate them, right?
Yes,
Because you can't. They're gonna be in the room. They're gonna talk. They're gonna say the stuff that nobody else is gonna say. They're gonna draw the people to them. And some people just, she's always been that way. And some people just can't. They can't. I don't have the words.
Can't hang.
They can't hang. They can't handle it.
She's one of those people.
They can't handle all of that. But I was talking to my mentor in Atlanta just yesterday about her, and I was talking about the lean, the LCI, because he's have a challenge he has to do on his job. And I was like, man, look, when Jen was doing this, blah, 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 and now she's doing this, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I want to meet her. And I'm like, look, it started with the network on the SMPS. Remember that? That Society of Marketing Professional Services. And that's when I started meeting her and Amanda, and it just led from one thing to the other. And then, so I wouldn't say that because she does not just go do busy stuff. If she's not making an impact, she's just not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always done it. And I think with everything that has happened with this tribe, No BS tribe, and it really just surprised me that even like her, me out here with her, and I feel like this is y'all's talk show. But this is like a talk show.
Yeah.
But it's really surprising because usually that's not her out there. She's like back here. She was never like out there in the front. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. And again, I will own it. And Jesse knows this. Like my happy place is like here outside, sitting by the water with no sound, nobody in my face, no engagement. And that's weird because that's not what you see. That is not and it's not that person out there that people see is not me. It's just when I do that and I'm going, it drains me. And so I then have to like take the time to be away to rejuvenate. And when you see me and you engage with me, you are not aware of that.
Yes. Well, let me ask you this, Jen. In terms of how often do you get lost in the busy?
Oh, it's a lot because all of you know, like squirrel. Like if I am not intentionally like focused on here's what I have to accomplish today, and that's what I have to do. But when I forget or I have a lot going on, so I have a lot going on, and so I don't like take the time at the beginning of the day to like here's the things I need to accomplish today. It's email, it's this, it's let me jump on a call, it's let me take care of this, yeah, let me go post it. Like it will go on for hours, and in the end, I'm like, well, crap, there's the other 8 things that I needed to get done today that are still sitting there. And for me, I have to be intentional at the beginning of my day, every day, on here's the goal, here's the things that I have to accomplish, here's the things that people are relying on me to get done, here's the travel, here's the stuff, what does that look like, how can I make all that happen? And sometimes I have to say, I've learned that I have to say no, or I have to delegate. And those 2 things were very hard for me for a very long time, because when I said no or I delegated, in my mind, it took away my value. And like, for me, it wasn't someone said that. It was then if I'm putting that off on someone else and I'm not able to do it, I'm not capable of doing it, and people are going to see that I'm not able to do my job.
That's the vein that I want to be poking on for all of us. And Steve Martin and Sarah have a comment. So
Okay.
Steve says, Demetra, you mentioned outreach. So in the context of busy versus impact, he's wondering, instead of outreach, would in-reach be a better mindset?
Demetra, what are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. And when you say in reach, that's meaning coming to, let's say, an association like NAMAC. So you're coming into NAMAC and you're vetting out those members, or you're coming to me or anybody on the board or whatever. Like, who do you have? If you need a plumber or electrical or HVAC, whatever, I mean, you're a painter, taper, whatever. So to me, that's in reach, right, Steve? And you're gonna say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Who do you have? Now you're reaching out to me or the associations, whoever it is, NAMAC, RHCA, RBCA, whoever it is, and you're asking for a specific, whatever, trade contractors, professional services, and then you're gonna come to them. We're not gonna have to have this big community engagement to say, you know what? We're gonna have this outreach. We're looking for certain trade contractors with certain certification. They look a certain way. And my job requires us to do this, so we've done it. But the in-reach mean, man, that's pretty intentional, the way I feel.
Yes.
Well, you're not having to go sell yourself.
Exactly.
And I just want to know that Demetra said trade contractors like 5 times in that conversation. That is not where she started, because it was subcontractors, and we've now made this transition because she's hung out with me too much.
You know, that's right, because you know, a lot of contractors would come into the meeting. Oh, I'm a CMAR. I'm a CMA risk contractor. I'm a general contractor. But no, you're not. You're not a general contractor, or you're not even a super sub at this point. So yeah, I definitely understand the difference between trade contractors. And you get a lot more work when you actually know what you bring to the table.
Yes, totally. So for me, the in-reach, outreach thing is on the same vein, but it lands in the sense that internally, so connecting to the intention, right? What keeps me busy? Doing peripheral things that other people have decided are important. What has impact? Connecting with people one-on-one in a real situation. And so like what you described, you know, business-wise, hey, look, I'm looking for a specific thing. Let's have a conversation, connect me. For me, it's the same thing personally. In reach, I've got to be clear about my direction, about what I want to contribute, what I want to achieve, whatever the objective is. So that requires in reach for me to know what's going on within me, how I intend to serve, so that I can connect with people in meaningful ways. What that ends up doing for me is it filters out a lot of the busy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jesse, so I have a question, a follow-up question with just that conversation, because what it made me think of is, yes, you have to be clear. You have to be clear in your purpose and what you want to do. And for you, over the last year and a half, 2 years, you've had to create a lot of clarity.
Yes.
For yourself, but also because this is your business and how you make money and how you survive, clarity for your potential customers.
Yes.
So can you talk through kind of like that, what that looked like for you when you were not in that space and then you had to kind of get super clear?
Yeah. So I'll start back when I decided to start to like quit the comfortable job, like great job, great people, great organization. So I'm going to go start a business after I bought a house. And I didn't have one of my former bosses was like, so what's your business development plan? I'm like, oh crap, I didn't think about that. And so there were a couple of things, and for me, you know, it always goes back to conditions. First, what do the conditions need to be so that I can learn and grow in this space? And so one thing I did on purpose, because I didn't have an absolute clarity, I just knew that there were some things that I did that brought me immense fulfillment. And so generally speaking, that's working with people one-on-one or working with small teams for a long period of time. And the reason that brought me fulfillment was because I could see the transformation in their thinking and the way their lives were changing in terms of a higher quality of life. Now, what the mechanism or the thing was, like the song and dance I was going to do was still kind of shaky, like not totally clear. So I had to figure that out. I needed time to figure that out. And so before I left, part of my exit plan was I saved up enough money to fund my lifestyle, including fishnets, for 18 months. And what that did was that enabled me not to take busy work. And what I mean by busy work is it enabled me not to take work with people that I'm not aligned with on efforts that I know won't provide long-lasting value.
Yes.
Right? Like I could go do the song and dance and, definitions and 8 ways and 5 ways. I could do those things, but I could do other things that are more impactful. And so that was the stage, right? Those were the conditions I set in place. Fortunately, my network, the people that I'm connected with, believed in me and they saw. It's kind of like this question of, this whole branding question. People keep telling me what my brand is. And I'm like, awesome. Can you tell me that again? Because I don't know I really don't know. And so it's this thing that I was able to stop being busy so that I could receive the signals from the people that I wanted to serve. And the signals directed me towards the value that they were seeking that I could, specifically could provide to them. Does that make sense? And then I started kind of, okay, what are all these other things that I know and how do I package that so that I can do that in a sustainable fashion? And so that's how I got down the road, which does require a lot of no's. And also because I'm obsessive about ideas and I get excited about a new idea and every idea I have is freaking genius. I had to put systems in place to no, not that idea, not right now. Nobody's asking for that. Nobody's responding to that. Just leave it alone, put it on the shelf. You can come back to it. Because otherwise it'll keep me busy. And so one of the hard parts that I'm learning or practicing daily is it's easy for me to confuse activity with impact.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's easy for me to say, hey, I know we have this call, but we're gonna have about 20-minute breaks here and there, and I could work on the website. I could. That's just activity. It doesn't accomplish anything. Sitting still and being present is gonna have greater impact. I have to release my need for the activity and the instant gratification of pushing buttons and ooh, look, I added a new page. And so, I don't know, does that answer the question?
No, it does, but it also opened up some other things on, one, the need for, and you said kind of the need to be still in the present.
Thanks for the warning.
Perfect timing, Bruce.
I'm sitting here.
She's used to it. Anyway,
I'm sitting here going,
she's used to that. Anyway, I probably poked her a couple times. But yes, the need to be able to be still and be present, but also the need to take those moments where you got to pack it full of stuff and stop and reflect and not be doing something. And so again, I want to challenge, and we can dig into this more. Jesse, I know you reflect by journaling.
Yes.
And we've kind of talked on that on some previous shows, but that time to get away and to really be in your own space. So you talked about stopping and being present and being with the person in front of you, but how often do we do that with ourselves?
Yes. In reach.
And I mean, just that finding that time where you are, again, Demetria knows, this has been almost a year where she's been committed. I'm going to come to the weekend. I'm going to come. And then life happens. And like, we've been doing this, and then she's here, and it is amazing, but she knows that it took her a while to get in this space, but this space is for her. And so, like, what are we doing to be able to stop and go, okay, I need to be here and I need to be present with myself. And so I know we can dig into like how with like journaling has helped you with that. But I also want to dig into, you and I have talked about this, on when we find those connections and the need. Everyone on this couch are connectors. Like, I know that because I've experienced it and lived it with them. And Jesse and I had a conversation where he went one step further and he pushed me a little bit more on, I will own that I'm not as good as Demetria, but I learned from Demetria that there's not anyone I can't connect with, and I can't go, okay, yes, this is amazing, but you know what? Jesse's your guy. Like, Jesse's the guy that can help you get where you need to go. Like, I can do that, and I can touch all these people. And Jesse pushed me and goes, okay, Jennifer, that's great, and you can be a connector, but how often are you using that connection and then putting them off on someone else to not be in that space and own the impact you could have with that person? How often do you connect them to someone else, not realizing that you're the answer to their problem? Can we dig into that a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to give a shout out to Mr. Allah Abdul Hamid. He's blowing up on TikTok. He's doing these.
Nice.
So y'all need to follow. Even though you don't have a Blue Heart.
Blue Heart, yes.
But
thank you so much for joining us this morning.
He's doing these super, super cool interview clips with craft workers or construction professionals
nice.
out on site, like just to, hey, how you introduce yourself.
Yes.
Super awesome.
Yes.
Keep doing that. I'm glad that you're here, my friend. And so back to what you touched on, Jen, and I want to ask the tribe out there, answer this question. It's a super easy one. How do you best serve? And so to the scenario, the picture that you painted, Jen, there's a couple of things that I'm going to jump on, like that I especially want to touch on. My money right now says people are going to struggle answering this question. And it goes back to what you talked about, right? Like Jen, connector can, you need to talk to, you need to talk to, you need to talk to, you need to talk to. But she's got immense value that she's unaware of or hasn't embraced, one or the other, both, maybe one than the other, that needs exploration and needs development, which means it's uncomfortable. She has this other thing, and this is a human thing, this isn't just a Jen thing, that she's gotten freaking great at, which is going to get her praise and make her feel like she accomplished something. But is she growing? And for me, the differentiator there is always asking that question or becoming clear about how you best serve. And also what's important to know is it doesn't stay the same forever. Because if it does, guess what? You're in your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And when I'm in my comfort zone, I am underserving, period. So it requires me to learn and grow and get uncomfortable and try different things and fall on my face and fail and all of that. But continuing forward is what makes all the difference in the world.
Yes. So I want to ask Demetria a question.
Oh, get her.
Because I have, again, been on this journey with Demetria for 12 years. And the way we connected, we met in an event. And then it was like early in the year. It's so weird how it happened. And then like the end of the year is usually when I get all my business cards and I get all my things that I gathered and are kind of piled up. And I start going through them, and it's either they're going in the trash because it was something that, somebody just handed to me and there's not really a value there. Or it's somebody that's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that person. And it was the end of the year. And so I go through, and any of those that I feel like there could be a potential, I email them and just, hey, I know we connected at this event. Would you like to grab lunch? And Demetria was one of those people. And we connected and we met for hadn't seen each other in 8 months, sat down for lunch, and an hour and a half later, I felt like we at that point were best friends. And we loved each other. And then we went back to our potential, our offices that we worked in, pitched an idea, brought our leaders together, and within a couple months, we were going after and winning a JV job at a healthcare system with both of our firms. Like that, it was really, that's how it happened. And again, Demetria's value and what she was bringing, Demetria, I want you to talk through, and this is gonna be a little hard for you, a little uncomfortable, but like the value that where you were, I mean, it was, document control, like that's where you started. And then worked into this BD thing that somehow you just kind of fell into, and then realized you had this magic fairy dust that you were able to do and interact with people. And then how that transpired into what the heck you're doing right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know.
Well, I thought the question was how best do you serve?
Yeah.
I don't think it hasn't changed. It really haven't, and it hasn't changed. And it's interesting. I really hadn't even thought about it, but I did when when the market crashed, when it did, I had to find something else to do, and I ended up in construction. I knew absolutely nothing about construction, but I used those resources. And like she said, I have to know. That's how I didn't know what SMPS was. I had to go. So Biz Now, that's where I met Jen, was at a Biz Now healthcare symposium, and those relationships that took off. And then I'm the same way. I just call BD for me, or meeting people is just very natural for me. It's just, I don't care what it is. I can sell this cup to you if I had to. I can picture this coffee cup. But so it went from there. But I think everything starts with that passion as well, because I think that if you you have to have the passion. And if the passion is not there, you wouldn't be able to move forward to do anything, in my opinion. So when I got into this industry, and that's all I wanted to do was business development, because I knew, I was like, dang, if I could do this deal with this person and go to Dallas ISD and get this deal for this guy, I'm like, oh, I'm onto something, right? And I was working but I was smart enough to know that I had to get with somebody to let me in to just kind of get the basic of all this craziness stuff in this industry that I'm in. And I did that. And the more I learned, the more processes I created, the more I visited project sites, the more people like, why are you in this OAC meeting? That's because I want to be in it. I had to really put myself in a situation. It was uncomfortable because I knew nothing, and it made me feel really stupid a lot of times. But now that I know I wasn't a stupid person, they were the more incompetent person, not me. But it just went on from one thing to the other, from BD to safety to and just fast forward to where I am now. Well, first let me just way back up. So when I was in this certain place for about 3 years, this girl here next to me, she's like, look, if you're gonna be in this industry and make a name for yourself, you're gonna have to do something different and separate yourself. And that's when it really changed. And that was almost 9 years ago. And here I am still doing it. So we went from the BD, being a connector, finding minority companies to connect with the larger GCs, when those requirements was there. Went to safety. I talked about the outreach, because that was like a big deal. Outreach and community engagement. You have no idea. It's not a money maker, but it is a big deal. So I was like, man, it has to be more to it than this. So we went into safety, and then just different meetings where people like, oh, there aren't any there's no trade contractors with capacity. I'm like, let me take a stab at this. So went into that, and boy, did it kick my butt. Is it still kicking my butt? Yes, but it's so rewarding because yes, I'm that yes person. Yes, we can do this. And she just made a comment about trade contracting, because that's what we are. We are a trade contractor. I want to be a trade partner. And I want to learn everything that you do, from your schedule, your sequencing, your budgeting, the quality, the safety. So all these different things, because you have to talk that talk too, as most of you guys know. I see a lot of these names, and I know that you're in construction. So what some of that you have to, the way I serve also in this industry is I make people uncomfortable. I'm not gonna sit in your meeting and be quiet. I'm not gonna be that yes person. I'm not gonna listen to some of this rhetoric that didn't make any sense to me. You have to make it make sense to me, and then I'll be quiet. Because if you're not making it make sense, how can I bring value to our membership, to other trade contractors that I'm working with? It just has to make sense. And And I really like the name of this No BS Tribe, because that's kind of what it is. It's just no BS in this industry, and we have to accept that. And I think, I forget what you even asked me, but.
Well, okay. Let me clarify. So she skated around it because that's what she does, and that's okay. I'm gonna ask a follow-up question. We've hung out enough to early on when we were going and she was talking, and I just was in a space with her, and then she can tell me I'm lying or not. But I looked at her multiple times and I said, "Girl, you are so much bigger. And you are going to do so many more amazing things than what you're doing right now." And she looked at me and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I saw it in her 8-10 years ago. This girl that had no background in construction came in, and Demetria, what are you currently doing? Like, what is your business right now? What do you do?
I am a painting contractor. We do commercial interior and exterior painting, tape, bed. And we also run a nonprofit leading the National Association of Minority Contractors DFW chapter. What is your point here?
I mean, this is someone who had no background in construction, decided I'm going to get into this business, going to start BD, going to start connecting. She now owns her own company that does trade contracting and minority business. So then she's getting in connected with other places because of her business development relationships. And now she's out there bringing other people in and helping them grow their capacity. And she's out and being able to be the person that people are going to go and do work and do things in this construction industry. Yeah.
Boom.
Like, I mean, that journey and that, like, when we talk about serving, and Jesse, you said it changes.
Yes.
And it's, where she was before, she was blowing stuff up. And that is, again, how we collided with each other. And we started, what can we do together? And she knows she would bring people in. We would make connections, and we would go do work. We would do, and some of them worked out great. Some of them didn't work out so good, but we just kept going. And then she started seeing the things. She started showing up to the meetings, asking the very uncomfortable questions, and then digging in and wanting to read the contract and wanting to call people out because things that were in the contract they weren't doing. And she would call them out in the meeting because she read every single piece of it and made sure they knew that she knew. I mean, it was those things that she didn't have any knowledge or background in. And now she's out there running her own company. Like, Demetria, own that shit. Come on.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't even think about it.
Yes.
You just do it, and you're not even thinking about what's really going on until you, like she said, you get into those rooms and people like, well, how the hell do you know that? Because I read the specification and documentation.
That's how you wrote it, fool. I was having a conversation the other day about, it's an awareness, and it's probably going to be obvious for everybody. It's brand new to me. I surround myself with courageous people so that they can tell me when I have a booger on my face, right? If I'm slacking, if I'm playing small, if I'm off form, they will let me know. And that's powerful. What they also bring, maybe not all of them, but what they can also bring is they can point to the gifts and talents that I have that I'm unaware of. So Demetria, you just touched on that. Like, you didn't even know, and bam, here you are. So I think, there's some value, there's tremendous value in, again, are you curating your inputs? What I mean by inputs, I mean the people that put mouth noise into your ear, the media that you consume, right? Like, are you curating that stuff intentionally, like on purpose? I don't watch local news anymore. I used to watch the morning news from 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. It was the same stupid thing every 30 minutes, but I had to watch it because I needed to see the weather, public television, radio. None of those things do I consume anymore. Right? There are different people that I surrounded myself with. I surround myself with look at this, like I'm here with people, right? So it's the inputs, and I can curate that. I can select who those people are. I can be super selective in terms of, okay, this is the group that I need to help me sustain and stabilize. And I need to start finding another group to grow into the next thing, whatever that might be. And these people are going to help me understand the value that I can provide that I'm currently unaware of.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to share some of the stuff that the
Yes,
folks
yes,
put in
yes.
the chats, because this is what it requires.
Mhm.
It requires listening. So Terry says she best serves with her ability to listen and understand and encourage without judgment.
That's her.
Right? And then we got Steve Martin, Chief Marketeer, says, how do I better serve? Hashtag better serve. See first, then listen, then serve. Listen,
In that order.
right? Justin says, I think I best serve by listening, actually listening. And then Emerson, what's up, Emerson?
Good
Coming
morning.
in, he says, reads the room intentionally, which also requires intense listening.
Mhm.
And so, what are we listening to, right? So for me, you asked earlier, Jen, for me to get clear, I had to listen to me. What is bringing me fulfillment? I had to get still in order
In
to
the busyness?
in the busyness. I had to get still in order to hear it. Otherwise, it just sounds like another mixed signal. It just sounds like static, because I got all this other stuff going on and busy. Hey, you did good. Thank you for that. That was awesome. And I, okay, yeah. Oh, busy. And then I look back 3 months later and I'm in the same damn spot. I'm the same. And here's the thing. I felt like I was missing something. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 3 years, 5 years. I felt like I was missing something the whole time. On the surface, everything looked great, but I didn't feel full yet. I had to slow down. I had to listen to me. And also, like everybody just shared, I had to listen to other people. I had to listen to let those signals in so that I could refine how it is I'm best serving others. And so that's the other thing, right? I left that word out, but it's service to others. Whatever that is, for me, that's the point. I had to go from this state of mind of focusing on achievement and accomplishment, because that was only for me, right? Jesse's freaking awesome. Jesse, look at those fish nets. He's bad. And then, so transitioning from accomplishment and achievement to serving others was the difference, the biggest change I've ever made in terms of mindset that has led to where we're at now. What do you think?
Yes, and so you gave us a challenge probably a month ago, because we have a group of us that do a lot of, good morning, Renee. We do a lot of, we call it emotional bungee jumping, but it is also an opportunity to be able to learn and grow in our facilitation, in our listening, Justin, in our, in the way that we ask questions, things like that. And so in this group, this community that we have, we get challenges every month. And Jesse, he pulls these from a way that he gets feedback in his own space. And last month's challenge. So how do you best serve? We've asked you that. How do you best serve others? A way that you could get that if you don't know. If right now you're struggling with I don't know how I best serve. And that's okay, because a lot of times, sometimes we don't, and we can't own something if we don't know it. But the challenge last month, which blew my mind in the responses that I got, and again, I'm going to challenge you to do this, is when you are engaging with people that you see on a regular basis, your tribe, your people that you're around, ask them this question: how does my influence, the way I show, how does the way I show up, how do I influence you? And that was our question. And Demetria knows, because I asked her this question: how does the way I show up influence you in the things you do? And I'm telling you, the responses you get will help you know how you best serve.
Mm.
You know what? And with that, that's what will help you keep going. I was at a conference in Memphis, and there was this executive that was there. Sometimes you don't even know. You don't even know. And for me, because I just go. I mean, it's always been that way. My mama used to tell me, "Girl, you talk too much." She always used to tell me.
I've never heard that.
You're just too much, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, because this is like, wow, here she comes. But if you take that and you let that resonate with you, and that kind of, for me, it just kind of built it. Because I was a cheerleader. I did a whole lot of stuff, but it really didn't. It was just easy. It didn't mean anything. But that true ripple effect, when she was talking about the ripple impact, I remember this one. I would never forget this. I was at the Leadership North Texas retreat, and Jennifer was like, "God, that's a ripple. That's a ripple." I said, "Oh, what are you talking about?"
This group hears that a little more, but Demetrius heard that for a while.
I'm like, what? But anyway, it became a thing. But sometimes we have to listen to other people, how we're influencing other people, because they're going to tell you.
Yes.
For me, they tell me. It's not something I just sit around and go, okay, how am I going to influence this person? I mean, I just be myself. And if it's something that impacted another person, they let me know.
Yeah.
Then I just kind of take that and I just keep going with it.
Do it again.
And just do it again. And it just adds on. Even I was in where we were the last time. I can go anywhere. And I don't even know that girl. I saw you on LinkedIn. You're hot on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yep. Yes.
So like the impact with Jesse did a thing 2 weeks ago on the last show. And he was talking, I don't know if you guys recall, but he was talking about how when you post something or whatever and how to get a reaction versus impressions versus whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I got something I want to talk about. Let's see if I can get a reaction. And then I posted it, and if you guys saw it, it was about how often general contractors or ask trade contractors what their capacity is. What's your capacity? And I talked about cash flow, and man, that got a reaction. And I didn't even know that there was another group out there already talking about it. And it was over, I don't know, I had like over 5,000 impressions on that one post.
Yes.
And I don't know how many instant messages.
Comments.
Yeah. So sometimes you don't know. People have to just take what people see and build onto it.
Yeah.
So can you really quick put what Buddy put up there? Because we want to make sure we're clarifying. We know this. we are in her space. We have been around her enough to know if you are not following her and you are not engaged with her, you are missing out.
Nice. Truth. So I know this guy. That's my baby brother right there. Renee, so this question to the No BS tribe. You got cheat codes, share them in the comments so we can hook them up, because I know he ain't the only one wondering about this question. And so he asked, what advice do you have for someone who wants to identify how they best serve? I think y'all both just touched on it, right? The challenges that we have on the emotional bungee jumpers, we have a monthly challenge every month. And Lynn had asked me, and I had forgotten about it. She's like, Jess, I bet it takes a lot of time for you to come up with that monthly challenge question. Like, how much time does that take? I was like, oh, it doesn't take any time. It's off of a survey that I use to get feedback from people, particularly when I'm working with people one-on-one for a long period of time. Because it was the difference between me getting frustrated because, you have any feedback? And people would say, oh, that was good. It was helpful. Thank you. Shit, I can't do anything with that. So I had to sit still, get into my journaling and say, okay, when I ask for feedback, what is it that I'm looking for? What I was looking for is those invisible things that I do that I don't do on purpose yet. So there were several questions, how can I better serve you? What do I do? What is it about my style that influences you? What is it that I do that helps you trust me? It was these questions, and those became our challenges. And now the reason I decided to use them as our challenges is because through that series of questions, I became more aware of this thing that I was doing that was more impactful, but I was doing it by accident.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't right.
Exactly.
So I was doing it. The things I was doing on purpose was the busy stuff.
Mhm.
This other thing is what I had to start doing on purpose so that I could be impactful and transition further from less busy to more impactful. Because here's the other thing that's counterintuitive, that yes, I'm an advocate for only spending my time doing impactful stuff. But that requires busy stuff too. There are buttons to push and things to check and things to like get in play and make sure it's gonna work and all that other stuff. Like that's busy work, putting it in my calendar, putting it in my Trello board, that's busy stuff. But it helps me be impactful. So folks, if you got any answers for Renee, throw them in the comments, please. I'll bring them up as we're going. And I wanna go to Mr. Colin. He says he lives by a to-do list, or the scrolls pull me away. And so I want to be clear, like a to-do list for me can keep me in a hyper busy state. The way I combat that is the first 2 to 3 things on that to-do list are the most impactful things I can do. Are they the very first things I do? No. They're the damn things that I'm going to do before the day ends. Sometimes it's just one thing. Sometimes it's one thing for several days, but again, being clear and understanding how I best serve, how I want to impact, and will this be impactful or is that busy? If it's busy, it can get pushed till tomorrow so that I get the impact that I wanted to get in today.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So I love this conversation because that doesn't, we want to make sure we're clear. That doesn't mean get rid of your busyness.
Right.
It doesn't mean get rid of the stuff that is not the stuff that's impacting and influencing all those people. Because we all know that administrative things, those things, they still are in our lives. But just you had a process and you kind of let me be a part of it as you were figuring it out, and it changed. But I loved it because you were just like, how many things can I get done in a day?
Oh.
And what that looked like to you, and then how you refined it, and how whatever. Can you talk through that a little bit?
Oh man, yes, you make me spill the beans. So it happened during COVID, during the lockdown. So my job required me to travel all over the country and do awesome stuff. And then they said, no, you need to stay your butt home. Damn it, okay. And figured it, which was good because I learned how to use Teams and Zoom, and like they forced me to. So otherwise, before that, I was like, there's no way. All that virtual stuff sucks. It's all got to be in person. And here we are doing a live stream every other weekend. Anyways, so in my head, I'm like, okay, all the reasons that I was eating garbage and not exercising and not sleeping are gone because it was because of work and travel. Well, guess what happened? I woke up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, did my morning routine, turned on my laptop, and then it was 9 p.m. And I worked. I was clicking away, call, and then I turned around and 2 weeks had gone by and I was still eating double meat, double cheese, Whataburgers, right? I was still eating freaking tacos, 6 tacos from Eddie's. I wasn't getting any exercise in. I live right by San Antonio River, Mission Trail, like same thing. I was just working now. Part of the problem was, well, the main problem was me. Part of the problem was I didn't have the social cues because I live alone, no pets, no animal, none of that, to say, hey, it's lunchtime. I would just work until I was starving and cranky, and then I had to eat, and then I gorged. I had nothing to say, hey, it's time to like leave the office because you're the only dummy here. So I just kept working because I was the only dummy there. And so I said, okay, this is not sustainable. This is not good. I need to put a system in place to manage myself. And so what I did, I said, okay, what's the target? The target is to work, put in 10 hours of work that I feel good about. Okay, so in that 10 hours, how many tasks and activities should I target to help me know that I'm actually being productive? Because that was part of the question. How productive are you being working from home? And I was like, well, I don't know. I know I'm doing a lot of stuff. I know I'm very busy, but I don't know how productive I'm being. So that's a ratio, right? And so at first I said, okay, I'm going to create 15 cards every day And as soon as I get those done, that should be within a 10-hour day. And so that's what I did, including lunch. Lunch was one of those, and a walk was
Every
one of those.
activity.
Right, every activity. And I was able to get those done between 9 and 11 hours, maybe 12 sometimes. And so the first thing that popped up was I would get distracted with an idea as I was working on something, and I would go chase the idea, which caused my day to be longer. Or I'd get distracted with the little request. Oh yeah, I got that. Let me find the email and I'll send it to you. And there it goes. So the first thing I did was I created another column on my Trello board. It's called Idea Incubator. So when I got that little idea or little action at somebody, I put it over there, and I was not allowed to touch it until I finished the 15 tasks. That helped. Now the other part was I was still a jerk on the phone. Like if I didn't have a scheduled call with people and they called like they weren't a card, I would answer and like, okay, what do you need? What do you got? And I was pushing hard
To get back.
to get back so I can get my thing done. That's not fun for people.
They're reaching out.
Right. So there's this famous lady that does like, I'm real busy right now. I got a lot going on. What do you got? I got a little. That's what I was doing. So then I said, okay, that's not cool. I want to be more relaxed because, courageous people say like, hey bro, like, why are you in such a rush? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I have 15 cards. They're like, well, why do you have 15 cards? I'm like, shit, freaking great question. So then I said, okay, let me go down to 10 cards, 10 tasks for the day. Will that give me time to be more human and more personable on the unscheduled calls and be productive and execute and deliver and not drive myself crazy? And so that ended up being the deal, right? It's like 10 cards per day, 10-hour work day. Sometimes it's shorter than that. Sometimes it's a little bit longer than that. And it also provides time for me to rest, to eat, to exercise, to journal. But I really had to dive deep to figure out all the Jesse-isms that were causing me to underserve. Is that what you were talking
It
about?
does, because Jesse, who are you accountable to?
Me.
That's it.
Exactly.
And so if you decide you're going to go do something else, like there's no one going, well, Jesse, get back on track. Like, Jesse, hey, you said there's nobody but you.
Right.
And so those cards, you putting those in, I love that you put those in place before you were ever at a point right now to where that's what keeps you on track.
Yes.
And you called me and said, hey, I went down to 9. Or one of your cards is I'm taking time for myself.
Yes.
And so I want to dig into that a little bit, and Demetri, I'm going to ask you.
I like that though. That's gonna take away from me. Terry, make sure that I do that. I need my
Terry,
cards.
you got to get her.
And so I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. That this may help, but I also you and I have talked about you spoke like on the idea incubator.
Yes.
And just kind of putting it off, and it's very similar. Some of you may like the parking lot.
Yes.
When we're at a stand-up meeting, when we're at a meeting where we have all of our trades, we're at the boards, we're talking about our weekly work plan and all those things. We all know things come up in that meeting that are important. We all know there are things that come up that we don't want someone to go, that's not important. We're not listening to you. It's not. We don't care. But we cannot use that time right then because it's very dedicated time. So we put it on the parking lot. Hey, this is what it is. Here's who's owning it. You show, I hear you, and we're going to attack that, but we're just not going to attack it now. Very similar a little bit to what you just said. Like, I'm getting it out of my head, putting it over here on the side, but it's something I'm going to go back to later. And so I love that parallel there. The other is you have got to make cards for answering emails. You've got to make cards for focus time. You've got to make cards for lunch. And I say those things because Rachel, who was on this morning, hopefully she's still listening, in my calendar, like, I've got to be so intentional. And it's not because like I need someone to be right there checking me and poking me and all that. But if you don't block that time out, it's so easy to get pulled away. It's so easy to get, okay, yeah, that's important, but so is this. And it's not even just setting the time. It's like you make that's what's driving your day. And I mean, just you and I talk about this all the time. It's so easy to get pulled away. And so, that's my question I want to pose to Demetria. You do have a lot going on. And again, most of the time when I call you, you don't answer because you're in the middle of something. You have to get back to me because it's the same with me with you. And so just based on this conversation, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Number 1 is how do you best serve? I want you to answer that for me today. So think about that one. And the second question is, what do you do? One thing you do that you block out time for you. So let's start with the first question. How do you best serve?
How do I best serve? I best serve. I'm a giver. I'm a giver. I mean, I have a book, The Go-Giver. Someone gave that.
You gave it to me to read. You did.
That's how I best serve. I mean, I'm a giver, and I enjoy that to a certain extent. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy it until people start taking advantage of that. What do I do? I don't know. Today, I mean, you guys, let me tell you, I've never been to freaking Mount Vernon, Texas. I've never been to, where are we? Panther Creek.
Panther Creek.
Panther Creek. I didn't even talk about, and I'm an East Texas girl, and I literally had to talk to my brother, like, I don't know where the heck I am. I'm going down 30. Then I'm driving through here. I mean, we're in the country, but it is beautiful. I mean, I brought my mobile fan. Jim goes, oh, you don't need it. It's like 60 degrees or whatever. I do not need my fan. You guys, I have not slept till 7 o'clock in the morning in forever. I slept till 7 o'clock. I walked out. I mean, this lake, it is amazing. I cannot wait to be done serving this because I had no idea I was serving today.
She doesn't even know what's next.
So I was, so anyway, that's what it is. One of the things I need to do is start making time for myself because everybody knows me. I'm a full-time grandma. I run my business. I'm running the NAMAC chapter. I'm a wife. I'm the oldest sibling. I mean, I am every city council, commissioner, court, whatever point of contact that wants me. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how, but anyway, I'm going to take my takeaway is doing those cards. See, I get these arm movements too. So Jen, she has I have a lot of outreach, but my takeaway is to do those cards because one of the things I do want to do is take better care of myself. And I am drinking water now. I'm drinking more water. And I'm trying to, I'm trying, and I know I need to do more. And my friend Terry, very different, also is on there. She's like, girl, you gotta eat. You gotta stop and eat something. So all of this, the personal stuff I know is very important, and it's something that I really need to work on because I don't want to burn and crash by serving other folks all the time.
And that's usually my question to Demetria. Again, there's lots of business conversations that we could have, and that's kind of how our relationship started. But she can speak to you that most of my interaction with her is on that personal level, on that, not even what's next, girl, what you got, what blowing up the world, blah, blah. I mean, just, that's great. She gets that a lot. She has a lot of people around her that do that. But are you looking at the people that are around you that you care about? And are you challenging them? Are you asking them those questions on, again, Terry, did you eat? Yeah. And then the poor Rachel, she put it up there. I know it's like, I know that's not in her job description. I know that, but she's that person in my space that is with me every day that is like telling me, you can't do this, you can do this. And do you have those people in your space that will call you out and will tell you, like, you got to take some time, you got to get away? And when I said this has taken a while to meet you get here, like, I'm not lying. Like, Jesse knows, like, she signed up for one of these 3 retreats ago. 3. And couldn't make that one. Yeah, we'll make the next one. Couldn't make the next one. Yeah, I'm gonna go to San Antonio. Couldn't make that. Like, literally getting her here and having her here this weekend is like, again, it's one step, one moment where she just said, I'm gonna make the decision and I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna be here. And again, sometimes it's that little stuff, but those people that are in your space and the people that you surround yourself with, are those people gonna be the ones that call you out and that ask you those things? And I saw a quote this week. It was, don't invite me or ask me the question if you don't want my honest response. If you want it sugar-coated, go eat a donut. I mean, I'm just saying, like, and there's people that they want that in their space. They want those people that'll kind of, make them feel good, whatever. That's great. And if that's the space you're in and that's where you want to be, you know, all the power to you that you can have with that. But that is not our space.
Yep.
That is not, that's not the space that we want. Go, girl.
I want to say this. Yesterday, I was talking to Terry, which I talked to her a lot, you know, because we're all she's in my space. And I'm the type like, just dive in. Hey, girl, blah, 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 this is what. But yesterday, I don't know what happened. And I was like, hey, girl, how are you doing today? And she just like started giggling. And she goes, oh my God, that's so good. You asked me. I mean, and you know, it really resonated with me. I was like, man, I have to do better. Which she always told me, girl, it's not always about you. You know, because I'm always talking about other stuff.
Yep.
And sometimes it's not about me. It's just shit I want to get off my chest. And that, I mean, I only have a very few people that let me do that.
Yep.
You know, but yesterday, and Terry, I definitely appreciate you. I mean, I literally, that tickled her because I asked her,
How you doing?
like, how are you doing? What's going on with you today? And she was not expecting it.
Who's this?
Oh, no, but you know what? Demetria just created our challenge to every one of you for this next 2 weeks.
Uh-oh.
She just created it because it's one of those things that I do, but you just calling it out and putting it out there in the space. I'm going to challenge every single one of you. And it could be to the person at the checkout counter. It could be to the waitress. It could be to whoever person checking you in at the gate. It doesn't matter. Whatever your life is in front of you. When you see somebody, ask them, how are you doing today? Because I've done that to people, and I'm telling you, number one, they're going to look at you crazy because they're not used to people asking them that. And then you ask them again, and you're gonna get the responses you're gonna get are gonna make you see how valuable it is because people do not ask. They do not. They are like, it's almost like they're going through the motions, and these people are just a white peripheral noise.
Yes.
And you're going through it, and that, I mean, and those people have been, you know, maybe mistreated, maybe they didn't feel valued. And by you just that moment, like Demetria asking Terry, and you have those moments of, girl, how are you doing today? What do you got going on? Like, it will open up some stuff. Some people aren't there. They're closed off because of some, you know, trauma, things like that. But other people will go, girl, let me tell you. And then you're just, and now you've empowered them. Now they know. And then you truly listen. Don't ask. And then don't listen. Make sure you have the time to listen. And it was how you do. It was, I tell something, how are you doing today? Really? Kind of ask that, really? Ask that one extra question, see what responses you get.
Yes. And I'm gonna try to do a double answer.
Okay, do it.
Justin,
Yes.
and then Renee asked that question earlier. So and it's just time to the challenge. Justin's asking, what is the relationship between being able to serve others and best serving ourselves?
Yep, still working on that. Still working on that.
So my answer, Justin, the way it come to pass for me is I first had to understand and start serving me.
Wow. Put that at the top. Oh.
And it's totally like uncomfortable. It felt selfish. I still have my therapist who's helped me tremendously to get there. But I had to and so when I say, how do I best serve myself? What I had to understand and embrace was what brings me fulfillment. What makes me feel like that's what the hell I am here for, and I just did it, and I'm gonna do it again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get clear on that, and I do this every day, I have to ask myself, how am I doing?
That's huge.
Right? How do I feel? Why am I feeling this way? What's missing? What's all of that? And I accomplished it by journaling. There's a lot of, you can walk, there's all kinds of ways to get connected with yourself. But so back to Renee's question, how does somebody figure out how they best serve? You need to spend time with you, like alone time, quiet time. And I say quiet in the sense that things aren't stealing your attention. For some people, it's listening to freaking death metal, working out, right? Like, but if that's the zone that gets you in the space to really examine what's going on within you, that's the step. That was the first step for me to finally get to say, okay, what is, for 5 years I've been doing this job and I knew something was a little bit off and I knew sometimes I felt amazing. I had to ask, like, why? What's the difference? And I spent weeks chewing on that. And so that's the answer, Justin. It's, you have to serve yourself. Otherwise, like Demetria said, when we're out there over giving, over contributing, we are depleting ourselves. Our intent, and because here it's feeding the cats, right? Jen, you introduced me to that idea.
Yes.
When I'm out there, serving up all my value and all my sexiness and all that stuff,
Keep coming
people
back.
want more,
Keep coming back.
and it feels good to keep that cycle going. But I have to refill and recharge me.
Stop putting the food out
And
there.
stop putting the food out there.
Because they're going to keep
They're
coming
gonna
back.
keep coming back. And you know what? Not one person has ever said like, hey, fool, where's my plate? They go get fed somewhere else.
Mhm.
So the time that I take, like now, the target is an hour every day of thinking time. And sometimes I journal, sometimes I just think. An hour every day. 5 years ago, I almost had a heart attack thinking about 5 minutes every day. And so it was just a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, Rachel, she and I had a conversation about it. She's like, I really want to focus on, like, okay, can you give yourself 5 minutes in the next week? And if that's where you're at, that's awesome.
That's it, yes.
Do it.
Start with
And then
something.
celebrate it. Jen, when you and I started talking about this type of thing, you're like, well, I only did it 3 days this week. Wait a minute. You did it 3 days this week compared, yes, your goal was 7. But the last 20 years, you've done 0.
Yes.
So 3 days is
Yes.
tremendous. And it's a constant thing. And so then I learned, okay, how do I recharge? How do I get clear? How do I, do what I need to do so that I can go and serve others in the best manner possible? And again, the word possible, because I'm learning and growing every day. And if I miss the mark, guess what? I get to go
Yes, do it again
do it
tomorrow.
again, right? I get to do it better tomorrow. So that's the thought. There was some other
Amazing stuff.
great
Yes.
stuff up here that we weren't able to bring up. Sarah, I was going to answer this question, but Jennifer said, no, we're out of time.
We'll put that on a future show. I have a feeling our next one's going to have some stuff about stress and stuff, so that could actually lead into that.
Yes. So closing thought.
Demetria.
Closing thought. I don't know, go.
Okay, well, my closing thought today is, again, it's nothing that all of a sudden just sparked, but it's one of those things that I need reminding. That for me, what does that reflection time look like? And it's easy for me to lean into the things that I know bring value to other people and the things that I know are impactful, which require other people. Those are a lot of the things that I do. But for me to reflect, I have to be by myself. And those are opposite of where I think my value is. And so Jesse said, find that time where you're doing some, you're focusing on you. And for me, it has to be by myself. And for me, it's walking by myself, not with the world's kind of put to the side. That's hard when your influence and your impact is to be around and impacting and connecting other people. And so stop and have that moment to where, yes, your impact and value and all that could be this. That doesn't mean that you don't need to take some time away from that to kind of get in your space. And it doesn't mean you have a mission or a thought or something that you can write down on Jesse in your journals. I have to walk, so I can't write down and I can't text it and I can't look it up, because I need my brain to be able to continue to think and think and think, to be able to grow. So when I get back and I am there, I'm 3 levels higher than I would have been if I just would have stopped and started writing things down. So for me, that's what I have to do, but it takes me disconnecting. And that is hard for people in our space, and the people we are magnet. We have this magnetism that we want to be around those people all the time, and it's magical. But take that time, because I'm telling you, you're gonna start seeing and feeling and exploring things that you didn't even know were there.
Nice.
Okay, now yours.
Feels good.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, it's just I have to learn how to disconnect. And, that's really hard for me to do because I feel like I have to be involved. I like that scenario of feeding the cat. I feel like I have to be that person to feed the cats. But, for me, I'm learning, I just have to learn how to disconnect. And I'm nowhere near that right now. I mean, I got my oldest granddaughter here with us. She's here. I brought her with me and picked up from driving school. And I mean, I'm just trying to learn all this stuff, the 10, the 11, and the 18-year-old. I mean, it's just a lot. My days, I get up at 4 a.m. I'm getting my crews ready. I'm making sure the kids get off to school. I'm picking her up from early release at 1:50. I have to find out. I mean, I feel like I'm drowning. I'm drowning right now. And I just feel like I have to learn how to just I don't know. So that's just where I am right now. Maybe it'll change in the next time they put me in the hot seat. But for right now, I'm just going to learn how to disconnect and take the start with me.
Powerful.
Jesse.
I got two. So one, Steve Martin, chief marketeer, sharing some advice for Renee, how to serve for him. The journey starts with why I should serve. Asking yourself that question kickstarts some deep reflection and can help lead you to who, where, and when to serve. At that hashtag crossroad, how to serve can begin. Beautiful, Steve. And the other thing, the one closing thought I want to implant into everybody's head. None of this is new to you. I promise it's not. Find the people that are going to remind you of what you've already known. They're going to remind you of the truth that you know that for some reason you've disconnected from and are unaware of right now. Those courageous people are going to shine a light on your path. Yes. That's it. We'll see you all next time.